uses the weapon. The world fears. August 30th, 2025, 4:20 a.m. China launched its deadliest attack. 20 DF-21D ballistic missiles and 36 cruise missiles streaked toward the USS Gerald R carrier strike group, a $30 billion fortress at sea with 4,000 American sailors on board. But the American shield held firm. 55 of 56 missiles were destroyed in mid-air. Only one warhead exploded near the Ford's hull, shaking the bulkheads but failing to cripple the ship. The so-called carrier killer had missed its mark. Then came the counterattack. 30 Tomahawk missiles, 12 stealth fighters, and 2 B-2 bombers turned Hainan and Guangdong into firestorms. By dawn, 70% of China's missile force had been destroyed. What happened to the sailors who endured that terrible moment? And what did the American counterstrike destroy in China? Let's find out. August 30th, 2025. 140 nautical miles southwest of Mischief Reef, Spratly Islands, South China Sea. The USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group steamed at 28 knots through international waters, a formation worth nearly $30 billion in combined naval power. On paper, it was a routine patrol. In reality, it was a calculated show of force to reassure allies after months of escalating Chinese maritime aggression. 21 a.m. The night sky tore open. From deep inside Guangdong province, 20 DF-21D carrier-killer ballistic missiles erupted from hidden launch silos. Each missile carried a 1,300-pound warhead and traveled at Mach 10, fast enough to cover 900 miles in under 11 minutes. Beijing's decision was not a warning shot. It was a declaration of intent. The first wave was followed almost immediately by 15 H-6K bombers flying from Lingui Air Base on Hainan Island. They carried 36 CJ-10 land attack cruise missiles, each with a range of 930 miles, programmed to strike the American task force from multiple vectors. Overhead, 12 J-20 stealth fighters soared into escort positions, ready to intercept any US counterstrike. The numbers alone were staggering. In less than 5 minutes, China had committed over $2 billion worth of advanced weaponry in a single strike package. Beijing believed the element of surprise combined with saturation firepower would overwhelm even the most advanced US defenses. But the real shock was not just the scale, but the risk. By launching missiles from the mainland and Hainan Island, China crossed a line no adversary had dared to cross in decades. The attack put more than 4,000 American sailors at risk. Pentagon satellites instantly recorded the launches. Sirens blared across the decks of every American warship. Off-duty sailors were jolted awake by the alarm, but within 3 seconds, they had regained composure and manned their stations as radar screens lit up with dozens of cruise missiles converged from multiple directions. For any other navy, this would have been the moment of annihilation. But the United States Navy carried the most sophisticated defensive shield on Earth. Within seconds, the strike group's escorts sprang into action. 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, USS John Finn and USS Holly, activated their Aegis combat systems, each capable of tracking over 300 targets simultaneously. The order came: engage all inbound. From the destroyer's vertical launch cells, 40 SM-6 interceptors roared skyward at Mach 3.5. In coordinated salvos, they tore into the stratosphere, meeting the DF-21D ballistic missiles head-on. Explosions flashed like miniature suns across the night sky. In just 90 seconds, 14 of the 20 carrier killers were obliterated mid-flight. As the survivors descended, the next layer of defense engaged. Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, ESSMs, slammed into another 4 warheads. The last 2 DF-21Ds broke through, screaming toward the carrier. One missile was forced off course by electronic jamming, plunging harmlessly into the sea. The other detonated less than 300 yards from the Ford's port side, unleashing a fireball that rocked the 100,000-ton vessel. Bulkheads rattled, lights flickered, and sailors were thrown from their feet, but the carrier's armored hull held firm. Damage minimal. Meanwhile, the CJ-10 cruise missiles met their fate. Low flying at treetop level, they sought to evade radar. but MQ-25 Stingray drones relayed real-time targeting data. Phalanx CIWS cannons, rotating 6-barrel Gatlings spitting 4,500 rounds per minute, turned the air into a wall of tungsten. In less than 4 minutes, 33 of the 36 cruise missiles were shredded to pieces, their flaming wreckage raining into the sea. The remaining 3 were picked off by last-ditch RIM 116 interceptors. When the smoke cleared, the numbers whopping, ear-staggering. Out of a combined strike of 56 inbound missiles, 55 had been destroyed or neutralized. Only a single warhead had managed to detonate close enough to shake the Gerald R Ford. The US strike group had absorbed what Beijing considered its knockout punch and survived with barely a scratch. If this breakdown helps you understand the reality of modern warfare, show your support by liking and subscribing right now. The skies still glowed with the embers of intercepted missiles when the order came from the Combat Information Center aboard USS Gerald R. Ford. Execute Operation Iron Thunder. The Chinese strike had failed to cripple the fleet. Now it was America's turn. The plan was ruthlessly precise, 5:10 a.m. 2 Virginia-class submarines lurking in the depths, USS Illinois and USS Missouri, opened their hatches. From beneath the South China Sea, they unleashed a storm of 30 Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles, each carrying a 1,000-pound high-explosive warhead. Their targets: Chinese radar stations on Hainan Island, hardened hangars at Lingshui Air Base, and command and control bunkers coordinating the missile barrage from Guangdong. Simultaneously, the flight deck of the Gerald R. Ford erupted with activity. 5 F-35C Lightning II. In Beijing, the mood was grim. The Politburo had expected a swift humiliation of the US. Instead, they watched as America's counterstrike tore through their southern shield in hours. Propaganda could mask some truths, but the reality was undeniable. Their most advanced missiles hunted down, their air bases gutted, their strategy broken. Internationally, the fallout was immediate. Tokyo, Manila, and Canberra announced expanded access for US forces. NATO issued a rare statement of full solidarity in the Pacific. Even neutral states voiced alarm at China's recklessness. Beijing had hoped to intimidate. Instead, it isolated itself further. What was meant to be a show of dominance had become a self-inflicted wound, a warning etched in fire across the South China Sea. America had answered the challenge, and the cost for China was humiliation on a global scale. The lesson was clear. In the crucible of modern war, boldness without calculation leads not to glory, but to ruin. The Battle of August 30th, 2025 will be remembered as a turning point in modern naval warfare. What began in darkness before dawn with 20 ballistic missiles and 36 cruise missiles screaming toward a single US carrier strike group ended in daylight with China's arsenal shattered and its strategy exposed. The US Navy demonstrated not only unmatched resilience, but also the ability to strike back with overwhelming precision. Out of 56 missiles launched in the opening salvo, 55 were destroyed in the air. Out of 24 bombers and fighters sent to press the attack, many never returned home. And when the counterstrike came, it was swift, coordinated, and devastating. 30 Tomahawks, 16 bunker-busting bombs, and dozens of precision airstrikes erased years of Chinese military buildup in a matter of hours. For Beijing, the cost was staggering. For Washington, the message was equally clear. American CA warriors could still sail into contested waters and survive, shielded by the most advanced layered defenses on Earth. But beyond the statistics and the wreckage, this battle delivered a deeper truth. In war, perception is as powerful as firepower. China sought to intimidate and instead revealed its vulnerabilities to the world. Humiliate. Instead, it broadcast its weakness to the world. Allies rallied, closer to Washington, while Beijing was left grappling with isolation, regret, and the heavy burden of miscalculation. The South China Sea, once a theater of threats and brinkmanship, had spoken in fire, and the verdict was undeniable. Striking first may light the fuse of conflict, but only those prepared to endure and retaliate will shape the final outcome. If you enjoy detailed analysis and strategic perspectives like this, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell to stay updated on every development in these conflicts.